Howdy folks, Nathan Adlin here with the Fast Lane Car, and we have a very special guest for you. Ta-da! 2014 Chevrolet SS. A lot of you have been asking about it, and we've been trying to get one, and we finally have one, of course, a year after it came out. Now, here's the question. This has a 6.2-liter V8 that came out of the old Corvette, and for $46,670 as tested, is it worth it? Is it a four-door Corvette? Find out next. As I said earlier, this 6.2-liter V8 comes directly out of the old Corvette. Now, it puts out 415 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. So that's not too bad. It's not crazy either. Frankly speaking, with vehicles coming out that have 700 horsepower plus, this might seem a little insignificant, but I disagree. I think it's a fantastic engine. It's hooked up to a 6-speed automatic transmission going to the rear wheels. Yes, better yet, next year's model will have a 6-speed manual transmission option, and it'll have Cadillac's Mag Ride, baby. So that's just fantastic. This is one of those cars I really do enjoy driving around here, and the reason why is it's not a four-door Corvette. Not even close. Corvette is solid in terms of handling. It's a decent GT cruiser, you know, going long distance and whatnot. It's comfortable. This car is completely different. It has a totally different vibe to it. First of all, it's mellow. It's really mellow. Until you decide to open up the taps and bring out a can of whoop ass. I've been averaging about 18 miles per gallon with a lot of highway driving. That's not too bad considering that it doesn't have cylinder deactivation. It's actually kind of good. The suspension, which is fantastic. I know General Motors is going to change the suspension soon. They really don't need to in terms of having a good combination, because frankly, it's compliant, smooth enough to drive on the highways, and it's quite nice, and at the same time, on the track, it hunkers down. It's great suspension. One of the more interesting aspects of the Chevy SS is its utility, and that's because it has a massive trunk. Here's the good news. For the most part, everything in this car is very easy to use, very competently built, and these seats are very comfortable, front and rear. It's actually surprisingly well laid out. Yeah, it's a big car. Actually, there aren't too many blind spots, but the way the back goes, you kind of have to look around and do a visual reach around in order to see what's behind you. Forward vision is pretty good. Speaking of forward vision, HUD, heads-up display. I love it. General Motors is finally starting to get it. They're finally starting to put together interiors that not only look good, but feel good. When you put your arm up here by the window, you have a nice, spongy piece of material underneath your arm. Thank you. Red stitching throughout the vehicle looks great. And once again, places that you would be touching feel good. And despite the fact that they're that well used, despite the fact that this car has suffered over 6,000 miles of testing on a lot of racetracks, being brutalized by auto journalists, it drives like a cream puff. That's really important. Tactile information that the vehicle feeds back to you just based on its interior is important. And that goes double for the rest of the interior. The steering wheel feels great. There is a fantastic driver and passenger seat that doesn't really have too many adjustments to it, but it just feels good, especially on my big American behind. The rear seats, surprisingly, very comfortable. Excellent legroom, excellent headroom. Once again, I know we're talking about what we think might be a four-door Corvette, but it's becoming just a really damn good car that has four doors that's built by Chevrolet. You know, I think I finally come up with what this car truly is. And I don't want to say poor man's, because that is just crude. It's not a poor man's car in any way. It's really well put together, especially for an American car. So let's recap. Fantastic car, easy to drive, excellent balance, fantastic on the track, very comfortable, despite having a sports suspension, excellent brakes, really big trunk, back seats are fantastic, front seats are amazing, a little bit of kitsch here and here that frankly shouldn't be there, but otherwise, what a car. Here's the thing, it's not a four-door Corvette. It doesn't have that pizzazz, that zoom, that zing. It doesn't make you look like you have to wear a really big belt buckle and have your tummy kind of hanging over a little bit and walk around a little bit with Texas accent while you drive it. But on the track, this would absolutely murder the Taurus, because this is a rear drive bias vehicle that has absolutely excellent balance and instills a much more aggressive bent when you're going through corners. And it's just not as friggin' heavy as the Taurus is either. No, this car has kind of an international feel. I don't know, you're thinking, Australia International, please. Trust me, they're more than Californians on a big island. They built a hell of a platform, and that engine is fantastic. I cannot wait until they put the manual in there with the new suspension. But as it is a fantastic car. Damn, well done, Chevy. I'm not gonna give it a buy it, lease it, rent it, or forget it, because it would be a lease it just like I gave it at another event. But I will tell you this, if I had to lease a car, this is the first car I'd look at.